We've talked about predictions. If you've been watching my channel, you know what I think about predictions, but I am going to review some predictions, actual predictions, which were for what's coming up, and I'm going to review each one of them by those major peeps. We're talking about Baba Vanga, Nostradamus, of course we already did Edgar Cayce recently, and I'm going to just share with you some critical things that I think you're going to love. Some of them are happening already, and we have some really great things to come. But what are they? I'm going to share that with you now, because those predictions may not be exactly what you thought they were, and now they're making sense. Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fear and live an amazing life. Today, it's a cloudy day in Florida. That's rare, and I really love it. Do you ever go through periods of time where you're like, okay, I'm ready for the sunshine, You come to Florida and it's like, yay! And we're like that way every day, but variety is the spice of life. And this sort of plays into what we're going to talk about today, and that is, we do love variety, don't we? I've said this before. If you sat on the beach, you had everything you wanted, you would be bored. Now, we talked about the Twilight Zone episode where the gambler makes this wish somehow. I don't know, probably a genie or some weird thing. It was a cool show, and he wanted to win all the time, and all these women who thought he was, putz. He wanted beautiful women. He wanted everything that everybody wants. Well, you probably know the ending to this. He got it. He couldn't lose. And every woman who saw him loved him. He couldn't get enough women's attention. In fact, to the point where he couldn't stand it anymore. The gambling was the fact that winning wasn't the thing he got all the time. He didn't know when it was going to come, and when it did, it was amazing. It stopped being amazing when he got it all the time. Does this make sense? I want you to really think about this, because this is the ride that all humans are on that makes it so doggone exciting. Don't overanalyze all of this, and we're here and we're in a prison planet and aliens, and it's all illusion. Now I'm going to talk a little bit in this video, not just about the predictions, but how these things happen and how you and I, because of one of these predictions, actually are going to realize that from this moment on, all of our futures can change because of this one prediction. I'm going to share that with you toward the end, but we're going to start with this really exciting part, and that is who made what predictions that have come true so far. So let's focus today on Baba Vanga and Nostradamus. I did a whole video on Cayce, but I wanted to share with you these two major dudes. And I'm going to talk about remote viewers. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain it here shortly. All right, so Nostradamus, and we're talking about most recent, predicted a major earthquake for Japan. He made this prediction in his writings in the year 1555. That's 400 years ago, right? And January 1st, 2024, which is what he predicted, a major earthquake in Japan, 7.5 hit. All right? Woo-woo! Ding, ding! All right, he did predict Hitler, and he predicted that pretty well, that he would not get the support of the world, and then, of course, would have a major war and collapse. He predicted the fire of London. That was 1906. Hiroshima, he predicted that pretty accurately. And then let's talk about what he started to predict that's right now. Both natural and man-made disasters. Parched earth, major floods, back-to-back, famine, drought, social upheaval. The head of Russia would have a major health decline and a predecessor. There would be a change in leadership, and it wouldn't necessarily be all that good. Global economic change, and it's not good, all right? India will be the cause of some of these things. India will be a big player in all of this. Extraterrestrials, ETs, will make themselves known. Now let me share something with you about what I just fired off for the current times. It was supposed to already happen. This was pre-2025. Now, I do want to mention, I did mention this to you before, that I got a reading from an extremely talented psychic about 35 years ago, and boy was she accurate. Only one thing hasn't happened yet, so I do believe it will. But she did say that psychics cannot predict actual times. They see events and they can tell if it's the future or not, obviously, because if it hasn't happened yet, they know if they're looking at the past or the future. Now, of course, we have a lot of predictions about the Queen will die, and well, you know, these people are in their 90s and, you know, older. Oh, whoa, oh, woo, the Queen will die. Okay, well, there were quite a few predictions for that did come true. But these predictions that I'm talking to you about were supposed to happen already. So let's bring us into 2025 and ongoing. ETs will make themselves known, and it will bring peace throughout the planet. All right, peace throughout the planet. We're going to address this. Global telepathic connections will occur during this time period. This is happening. There will be the last pope. Is our current pope the last pope? I don't know. Supposedly that was supposed to happen already, and it didn't. All right, so, you know, so the question is, are these things in stone? No, they are not. Here's what I want to share about the telepathic abilities that we will have. This has been a consistent prediction, including Casey, Baba Vanga, Nostradamus. We can go on, that there will be a telepathic era, and that there will be others from other planets. There will be an era of peace, and it is connected to our spiritual and telepathic advancement. This is happening now, but it will not happen unless you pursue it. Now, this is the key part of what I'm going to talk about today, because this is going to absolutely make sense to you. Baba Vanga said there will be global economic crisis, worldwide epidemic. Now, that was supposed to happen now. Maybe she was talking about, you know, a few years ago. So again, time, maybe it has already happened. So we're not going to ding her for that one. There will be a mysterious disease for our president. Supposedly that is our current president. It will affect the brain and hearing. Is it possible it was the president that just went out? Biden has obviously some brain issues. Maybe it's affecting his hearing. He's got cancer. And let's just face it, it sounds more like him. So when we hear these things, they cannot be super accurate. There will be an alliance of countries that will create power that could create global conflict. I'm not seeing any alliances, but we'll see what happens. There will be the rise of AI, but there will be alien contact. Okay, we've got this now with Nostradamus and now Baba Vanga. The rise of consciousness and leading into community and peace. Because of the strife and the crises with food and water, people will start to go out into areas where they're farming, and they will start to do this in communities because that works. We're going to need one another. We're going to go in a completely different way of life. That has been consistent also. Let's talk about remote viewers. Some of the top remote viewers, especially here in the United States, that's been a big deal. We've heard a lot about that. Ingle Swan, if you don't know who he is, amazing person. He remote viewed the moon. We've got people here. I know Elizabeth April is one who claims to remote view, although she already knows the target, so I don't know if that really is remote viewing. But basically, she's using her consciousness to visit places and give us back some information. Now, here's what I want to say about that. As soon as, and I've heard this from the top remote viewers, there's just too many to even mention, in interviews consistently say the same thing. Whenever they try to remote view the future, events that haven't happened yet in our linear timeline, they ran into problems. There's two problems. One is, you're going to love this. One is their personal thoughts and beliefs affected what they saw. Okay? Yeah? The second thing is, because it is not in stone and it is open to free will and collective choice, that it was all over the board. So they couldn't really lock in on anything because it is always completely open. It is never in stone, ever. It can't be, because we have free will choice to choose it. So it can't be. So any of these predictions, I actually wrote them down, any of these predictions were predictions based on the moment that they saw the collective's free will choice. And many of these things that all of them have predicted didn't come to pass because the collective didn't choose it. So when you hear a future prediction, whether it's your tarot card reading or anything, you are in control of changing it. And it is your personal choice. This is the most exciting thing. The more we go into consciousness, the more we change and control the future instead of allowing it to be told to us, and then we create it based on the fact that we believe that. So if I told you, here's your future, and I gave you some list and maybe it's not so nice, you might walk around thinking, well, I don't know, Landria, she has some psychic abilities, and wow, this, and in your head, you're waiting for it to happen, and you're focused on that, you're thinking about it, and then you create it. That's the danger of you believing anything that could be negative. Now, I don't believe that these psychics said all of this stuff in a negative way. I think they were telling us warnings, like this could happen. This is a reality, a possibility that I'm seeing, and it's the most dominant one at the time. That means, hello peeps, it can change, right? Now we're handing our power over to institutions and organizations that are 100% corrupt and self-serving. And we're expecting them to change, and it won't. Anytime you get power and money together and you have a separation of anything, it's never going to serve others. Now, I just said this to a friend of mine. I said, I told her I resolved the world problem. I know exactly what it is. She says, what? And somebody said greed, and somebody said something else. I said, well, no, it's really not any of those things. It's all those things in this one thing. Service to self is greed, is separation, is judgment. That's all service to self. If every single person served others first, we would never go into all of these things, the negative parts of what I just said. Now, the planet, she goes through her own changes. It's just like getting older. It's just like, well, I don't want to get older and, get, hip problems or knee problems, whatever people get when they're older. I don't have any of that stuff. But, it happens, we start to look older, we're not as quite as spry or whatever. That's the evolution of the physical world that allows us to transform it. It's not a negative thing. It is an experience of endings and new beginnings. That's all, okay? So we we avoid that. We don't like that. Okay, we don't want that. But no, we will go through that. So even if we go into total peace and community, totally possible, by the way, you get to choose it. You and I get to choose it. It is absolutely a possibility, okay? That never goes away. All things are possible. Miracles are possible. As long as you give up the thoughts and the self-sabotage of where you are here, if you give that up, you can step into this. But you have to know it, believe it, and know that this will fade away as you focus on the new reality. All right? So you and I are going to go through this whole transition together as an earth that evolves, as people that age and die and transform into something even more beautiful. We each have complete control over that next reality in this lifetime. In other words, tomorrow will be exactly what I am focusing on. And collectively, we get to choose it. The more we go into this psychic era that is happening now, it has been. The ETs are already here. That has happened. That's not something new. Now, you are going to see control, and I'm going to warn you of this again, because this could affect your focus. The stuff out there is meant to have you believe and think, because you have free will. No one can make you think anything, but they can sway you by making you think something, and then you believe it, and then you create it. They can't get you to do that except for by convincing you that aliens are negative creatures, that they're evil. They would not have us here destroying the planet if that was the case. We are the ones shooting them down, right? We have to end this behavior. So if you're going into fear and believing, there's good ones and bad ones, of course there are, but they are not going to take us out. There are rules here about our illusion, and it is an illusion. All of it's an illusion. All right? So I want you to remember, it's all the game playing out, and we get to change the program. All these things that I just said, Baba Vanga, the rise of AI and alien contact. So what does that mean? It depends on our response. It depends on your response. It depends on your response to everything and mine. It depends on what I think about what I'm hearing. Now, the reason you guys have heard me talk about Ross Coulthart on News Nation, interviews a lot of people, and a lot of stuff they say is just baloney. Everybody has a different opinion, but it's all true for them. You have to pick and choose what you believe. I believe that our extraterrestrial neighbors are way more advanced, that they are connected to that world, that unseen world, that they are able to shift into different energy fields, because we all really are that. Oh, monarch butterfly just went by. That we are that, and that we haven't recognized that yet here as the Neanderthals that we are, and that as soon as we recognize that as soon as we go into peace, we'll be invited into a galactic neighborhood, and that we will all start to share those resources and talents and skills that we all have and that they have, that everyone will benefit from. Service to others. They're willing to help us, but we are so violent. We kill each other. Why? And so why would you think they're evil when we're the ones who they can't even land and talk to us? We're so afraid of them because we're conditioned. Now, if we were brought up to say there's the star people that come, here's what they look like, and you're like, okay, they look weird according to our human, ideas of what things look like. You would grow up thinking, oh, this is going to be amazing. We look forward to the day when they arrive, sort of a Christ-like kind of philosophy where there's going to be something beautiful that shows up. If we were taught that extraterrestrials were, a wonderful thing, then we would not go into this fearful space that we're in right now, and they would be welcome, and they'd land, and we go, oh my gosh, welcome here. come into my home, you know, do you eat? What about water? Oh no, our water's polluted. I mean, you know, let's work together on that. And it would be totally different, but you're conditioned to think something else. All of these things that we know about global crisis is just pretty redundant, isn't it? But it keeps saying the same thing, that there's a golden era coming and that we are in control. The remote viewers all saw different futures as individuals. All right? So it wasn't that they just all had problems. It's that one person whose certain beliefs were affecting that future. So if I believe that we're going to go into golden era where, you know, we don't really have to work anymore, you know, we have free energy and we focus on things we love, gardening and art and, you know, singing and nature and all kinds of beautiful things, that's my vision of the future. Somebody else sees something cataclysmic because they, in essence, deep down, believe that we're going to hell in a handbasket. This is how it works. All right, so all these things that you're hearing, what haven't happened, that was already supposed to happen, most of it. A few of these things, the things that are most important for you to think about, is the extraterrestrials and the era of spirituality. Edgar Cayce, watched my video on Edgar Cayce. That was a video that I predicted, that I shared his prediction of that spiritual era where we would go into psychic abilities unknown to planet Earth up until this point. Well, I think there were other eras that did that. But as far as who we are right now is going to change, and it's not going to be a scary thing. So play with it, have fun with it. It's beautiful, it is exciting, and the more you do it, the more you realize that ye are all gods, and now you're not afraid of another power. And you realize we are equal powers. Of course we are. We are one. We are all one thing, all one happening, including those ETs, all of it. So those are your predictions. And those things were supposed to already have happened, especially Edgar Cayce's. Will they happen in the future? It's a possibility. But guess what? I want you to understand that that's proof. What I said today is proof that no one person can tell us our future. That is indisputable, and that somehow we're creating it. So if somebody can see it, that means it's an existing probability, which means I can choose it. You and I can. So we're going to talk more about this. We've got some exciting things coming up, more videos that are going to take us into that era. I am relaunching Landria.com, the Breakthrough Fear lessons and courses and the Miracle Circle. Some of you are already in it. I gave you the free lesson on the orbs that Nikki taught. We have a beta form of that. Any of you who are in that spiritual email list, it's down here. And also, those of you who want to be a digital explorer and you want to create the new world where planet conscious businesses are changing your life, you're doing something you love, we help you find it and monetize it, and then we do something for a living that changes the planet in a positive way, and you earn money in a positive frequency. If you're entrepreneurial, this could be for you. It's actually sort of a self-discovery kind of journey that I take you on. And it's not easy. Why? Because we're so programmed to be told what to do. As soon as you have this freedom, it's like, whoa, okay, this wasn't as easy as I thought, but it's pretty darn exciting. It's a world that we can live in. So let's create it together. So that's called digitalexplorers.net. Landria.com is the spiritual training. And like I said, I'm going to revamp all that and have some great announcements. Something I want you to know is your choices as a consumer are important. No more plastic. You're putting it into your body and poisoning yourself. And no more toxins. I have products down in the description. My Amazon store of all vegan, no animal testing, of course, no plastic, no toxins. I support the businesses who make the effort to create products that are healthy for you and the planet. You can go down there, Bite toothpaste, you get a discount. Did you know your toothpaste is toxic? Did you know those tubes are going out there and polluting? Ours comes in glass with little pellets. You refill. There's no plastic involved. I've got discounts. I've got a water filter down there. I keep testing all these things out so that you will make higher choices when you want to, based on what you're ready for, okay? And these are amazing products. Clean your water out. I've got a little thing here that is amazing. My friends say, "What? Your water's amazing." I said, "Yeah, I've got a water filter that takes about 80 nasty things out." And it will change you, right? It will change your physiology because you are still a human being, right? It's still part of our essence and our illusion, so take care of that. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you. Please subscribe. I'm counting on you. You're the one that keeps me going here and getting my message out to our world that we're okay. We're going to be okay, and we are okay. Namaste.